We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
No, let me, since I haven't spoken on this, get a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick every single time. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America. Systemic racism that has plagued our nation for far, far too long. I said that over the course of the past year that the blinders have been taken off the nation, the American people. What many Americans didn't see or had simply refused to see couldn't be ignored any longer. Those 8 minutes and 46 seconds that took George Floyd's life opened the eyes of millions of Americans and millions of people around all over the world. It was the knee on the neck of justice, and it wouldn't be forgotten. And it's not white Americans' fault, but just a fact.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. If you believe in this number as I do and would like to join me in the fight for reparations, please email me at friendsofadostv@gmail.com. That's friendsofadostv@gmail.com.
Good evening, good afternoon, good afternoon on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the mountain. Good afternoon in the central. Good afternoon on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective, bringing you those ADOCS hot topics and making the case for reparations. making the case for weaponizing our vote and socializing our suffering family. And today, I'm back, I'm back, I'm back, I'm back. Ooh, your new black media has been taking hits and hits and hits for telling it like it T.I. is, for telling the T.R. root. I can't thank my tribe enough. Y'all love me black and strong like I love y'all black and strong. And y'all have been blowing up and sending up smoke signals. What happened to Angela Nirvana? What has happened to what has happened to that sister? What has happened? You know, it's just like the Joan Bonet mystery, right? What happened to Joan Bonet? They were asking me, family, what happened to Angela Nirvana? And let's just jump right into what's happening to Angela Nirvana and what's happening to the bulk of the new black media. Those of us who are not afraid to tell it like it is. I want to jump right on into it, family, because I want to give you some insight on how you can protect the base you've built over in Facebook, the base you've built in Twitter, the base you've built in ScrewTube. I need you guys to understand that we have been labeled Black identity extremist since 2017. That literally means when you fight for ADOCS, social and economic justice and inclusion, you get a label. You know how when I talk about the distinction between all black ain't ADOCS black, and then I'm labeled a xenophobe for calling out the Asians, for calling out the Hispanics, for calling out the Africans, for calling out the Caribbeans. You know, so I've got a couple of names. I've been called a xenophobe. I've been called a racist. I've been called a black identity extremist. There's one more I seem to be missing. But this is what happens. They come for your jugular when you stand up and call out the puckery. So Facebook has been messing with me since I joined the movement. I've been clipping along since around 2012 with Facebook. As long as nobody was following me and nobody was listening to me, which was the bulk of the niggerati in my collective prior to finding my tribe, I felt like I was drowning because my own friends and family were calling me too radical and all this kind of stuff when I would mention the puckery. And so it was like I was just preaching to myself. They weren't liking my comments. They were giving me the side eye and were angry. You're talking about your own people. Angry with you for calling out the puckery of the Democrats and the Republicans alike. Well, then there came Yvette Carnell back in, 2014 when I found her, as I was working the Bernie Sanders campaign. And I realized Barack Obama didn't do crap for the very ADOCS who helped to get him elected. We came out around 65%, less than what we came out to unseat a racist in office for 4 years, with racists in office a combined 65 years. So all was well until 2019, when Yvette had these political shows. She's disappeared. I don't know what's happened to her. Everybody's asking me. I didn't follow Yvette. I have separated from the pack. I'm now doing work with the National Assembly of American Slavery Descendants, working with the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, working with my own Equity Advocates PAC. So I don't know what's going on with Yvette. Last I heard, she was doing an upgrade. I don't know why it takes a month to do an upgrade. That's not my monkey, not my circus, not my show. I'm just telling you I love her because she introduced me to y'all, my tribe. The ADOCS movement is who we formerly were. Now, she's continuing on to do her thing. God bless her, to her next prosperous place. I'm over here doing what I do under the reparationist perspective. So I'm here to tell you. Now, see, folks want to bother me. See, I don't get a break, y'all. Y'all don't understand. When I'm not over here, I'm doing the work in the backdrop, doing the advocacy. So let me silence this. She introduced me to my tribe. So I went from about 2,000 friends to 4,500 friends and followers. That is called you are beginning to get traction with your people now that you have found your tribe. I've got followers. I had about 800 in the queue waiting to be admitted as friends to my show. But I don't know which ones are agents of chaos and which ones who actually want to do this work. So I stopped at around 4,500 or so, accepting people as friends. So I got a lot of people following me. People, it was growing. It became a threat. And as soon as I started this new series and my anti-Black racism series, that's when they cut me completely off. They shut down my whole existence as Angela Nirvana over in Facebook. So I want to talk a little bit about that before we get on with the rest of the current events. I've got about an hour with you, but I have to say hello to my family, whom I love very much and whom I miss very much. Amos Jones, Brian C. Johnson, Trey Lincoln, Robin White, Bet Mass, which is Besh Tosh. I see you guys. I love you, Black and Strong. Thank you for holding it down for me. And for all of you who have wondered about the disappearance of Angela Nirvana, I was combating two things: being disabled by Facebook and losing everything. All my videos, all my contacts, all my new followers and subscribers, all my photos, everything is gone. I kept everything stored there. And I was combating laryngitis. So let me help you guys circumvent what I just went through. I learned what I should have done after the fact. First and foremost, get your videos and different things you've been doing, copied and pasted in a website. Create a website and store your things, because it's not just Facebook coming after us. Twitter is on this nonsense, as is ScrewTube. The minute you become too much of a threat to the establishment and you start speaking too much truth, you get labeled and they start to follow you. So you've got to take ADOS out of everything you do. That's one of the ways they got me. I started using ADOCS, and that bought me a little bit of time. But once they start flagging you and giving you warnings, you are now on a list. And this list means that it doesn't matter what you say, even if it's politically correct from a reliable source, eventually you're going to be disabled. So you've got to take precautions now to protect yourself and all of your contacts and your friends and followers right now. Speaking of which, I need everybody's email, because when things go awry, I don't know how to reach y'all. Some of you know me personally. Well, you never met me, but you're my tribe. So you have my information and you keep in touch with me via text or messenger, which sometimes I can get a message through Facebook Messenger. Oftentimes I can't, or I can't respond. It's really glitchy right now. So you want to make sure you get everyone's email. So when things like this happen, folks won't have to worry. People were literally worried. I love y'all for that, because that's what we do as family. We know that this work can get us COINTELPRO on government lists. We can, they can come for us. And they do come for us, because instead of labeling the domestic terrorists called the KKK, the skinheads and the neo-Nazis, they come for us. They don't want us telling the people and waking them up about all of the puckery. They don't want it. Okay? So you got to get your emails from everybody in your tribe. Do those things now. You also want to make someone the administrator, someone you love and trust, so that if they do disable you, your administrator, you can hit them up and tell your administrator to tell the people what happened, because they'll still be able to communicate on your behalf. So emails and administrator, get that ADOS out of what you're doing. Get it out. It's on a blacklist. It's on some type of FBI list. Refer to yourself as something else. Be totally inconspicuous. If you're going to shade them, don't do it like outright. You've got to speak code words. Like, for example, if you want to talk about white inferiors, instead of saying white supremacists, call them white inferior race soldiers, glacier donkeys, things like that. They won't be able to know who you're talking about, okay? Understand this. You've got to scrub all those new friends that you've gotten from being in the movement. Let me explain. You must scrub it, because there are a lot of people who are following us who are not our friends. So we have made them friends because they've asked for friend requests, and we do such a big movement work, right? We're the reason why reparations is a national topic right now. It's empty, and that's another show, okay? Probably tomorrow's segment is going to deal with all the puckery from the Biden administration, all the shmoney, because I'm pocket watching, understanding that he is on like day 99 and still nothing for ADOCS. But anywho, back to my point before I lose. Y'all know how I do. I get rambling. You must scrub all the people you've made friends, because I learned from a comrade who has a friend at Facebook saying Facebook is innocent from disabling us. It is the people we don't know that are complaining about us. I believe it's both. So I have a lot of people that follow me that are different races and different backgrounds, because I won't let them be friends. I would not let them be friends. But I have 4,500 people. I'm sure quite a few got through there that I know not of, that have been probably reporting every time I post something that they consider racist or xenophobic. Number one, you can never be racist. You can't afford to be racist, okay? You're ADOCS. You're wealthless. So they got this term all screwed up when they tried to pin anti-Asian racism on ADOCS. That is a lie. We can't afford to be racist. Asians are worth a median national income of $87,000. That would not be us. Okay, family? So please understand they're silly and ignorant, but they like to call you a xenophobe and all this kind of stuff for some of the things you say, just showing and pulling us out so that we can unflatten it so we can be seen. They call us all kind of names for that, and then they report. And Facebook is so screwed up, they take their words for it over even allowing us to have a say. I don't care how many times you put it under review. My Facebook account, Angela Nirvana, Reparations Perspective, Equity Advocates Fact, is still under review. You see how many weeks it's been now, right? A couple, at least. I believe they're going to disappear me altogether, because if it's under review, they're combing through my entire stuff. And they're seeing how I talk about Skamala the Chameleon, Jim Crow Sloppy Joe. They're seeing everything. My videos, I know it's under review. So this is why I need you guys. Now, email me if you want me to send you my new identity over in Facebook. Email me. I'm not going to announce it here, because I don't know who's watching and who's reporting to come for that. So friends of ADOS at Gmail, I put it in the chat. Email me if you like access, because I'm no longer going to use that as a way to go live. I will copy and paste my YouTube links over there from henceforth, okay? So do those things to protect yourself, family, immediately. When they disabled me, they didn't tell me it was because of anything I posted. They didn't give me a couple of days. They didn't allow me to really defend myself. All they continue to say for the past 2 years since joining the movement, which I now call the reparationist movement, that's been since 2019. Every time they give me a reason, they say I violated community standards. How convenient. You have no way to defend yourself or get any of your people back. So now I need you guys to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications and help me to grow, because what they did to me is designed to shut me down, and I'm not the only one it's happening to. It's happening to ADOCS in the movement, comrades, who don't even have a show. Simply because they're ADOCS, FBA, B1. When you identify as that, you're going on that list as a Black identity extremist, and it won't be long before they shut you down. So take those precautions, family. Let's move on. I want to fly my banner to thank everyone who has contributed to the show. Your donations help me to educate the masses, and it helps me to advocate for ADOCS. I want to share about Bruce's Beach. We still got some work to do on it, but it passed unanimously to return the very ADOCS Bruce's Beach to the family. It's been 100 years, but it was a unanimous vote by the city council, begrudgingly, okay? Because there's a new city council. Mrs. Hahn, whose daddy was friends with Martin Luther King Jr., is the one that started this process of seeing how the government on every level, local, state, and federal, literally came in and took everything we had and gifted it to themselves. Bruce's Beach out here got a placard some years ago, but now they're going to get the property back. And this is great news, family, because the median home price over in Manhattan Beach, formerly Bruce's Beach, it was stolen from them by eminent domain. That median house price on Manhattan Beach is $2.7 million. Yes. So when you donate to me, you donate to my ability to give you your marching orders, because we've got calls. We passed the city council. Now we got to solidify everything through the state. So I pushed out the word today that we had calls. Then I got the word, no, you ain't got to call right now, but we will have to call. These are the things I do. And I'm seeking to do it full time with your support. And I also have about 8 additional shows in the pipeline. And I want to just be on ADOCS round the clock. That's what your support of this channel enables me to do, slowly but surely. So thank you for all of that. Now, they just moved Breonna Taylor's Cullors trial to 2022. Robin, can you send me the link? You got my number. I can address this because now Amber Geiger is actually doing an appeal. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, send me that, my love, in a text so I can remember to include it in tonight's show. My Ida B. Wells 2.0 series presents anti-Black racism. Tonight I'm going to be talking about my closing thoughts on the Chauvin verdict, along with 6 additional executions that have happened since the Chauvin verdict. That's at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, same bat station, the reparationist perspective. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you. Okay, I got to jump into this, and we'll deal with that a little later on the show. So I want to talk about hold on. I want to talk about Bruce's Beach. Where is, Lord, I got so many tabs open. Have mercy. One of these days. Hold on, family. Let me go back to my email. I emailed myself all of these. LA County Supervisors approved the plan to return Bruce's Beach. I just went back to the article, child. The ghetto. Okay, I want to show this to you. Hold on, family. I want to share my screen and then get into this article. Can y'all see that? Okay, so Bruce's Beach, I've already touched on this. I touched on this some time ago. I hope y'all can see this, okay? This is the placard. It says the KKK forced the Bruce family out of Manhattan Beach. Now, I want you guys to understand something. We still have the KKK here. Don't get it twisted, okay? Be ye not at all confused that we still have the KKK down here. Understand that, okay, family? So this placard is what remains of Bruce's Beach when the Bruce family was forced out. I can't see what it says, but the letters are too small. But I wanted to show that to you guys so you could understand, why this is such a huge deal. This was over 100 years ago. So let's get into it. The LA County Board of Supervisors voted on Tuesday, now this was April 20th, to throw their weight behind the movement to restore land to the descendants of a Black family, ADOCS, that had their beachfront land taken from them by eminent domain nearly a century ago. Oh, I've been spelling imminent wrong. Oh, forgive me, family. In 2 unanimous decisions, the 5 supervisors voted to determine a plan for transferring county-owned land to the descendants of Willa and Charles Bruce, and declared formal support of California Senate Bill 796, a proposed bill that would make transferring the land from the county to those descendants legal. Me speaking. This is what your support helps us to accomplish. You see, when I rang the alarm about making the calls for the successful transfer of this property, I rang the alarm all over the country with the other grassroots. So we are instrumental in helping each other to secure what's rightfully ours, that this government on every level helped to kill or was complicit in killing us and stealing from us. Okay? We help each other. When I get a call from the grassroots outside of California, I chart my time in my calendar to be on their calls or do whatever it is that they need me to do, whatever they need me to sign. And this is also, this Reparationist Perspective show is here to also recruit for people who want to advocate, because none of this gets done until we all heave ho and pull together and piggyback on these things. Understand, it took a white woman to do this. Mrs. Hahn, who is the daughter to a very dear close friend, her father was a very dear friend of Martin Luther King Jr. It takes all hands on deck, because let me tell you who is on those calls, making sure they oppose these kinds of transfers, these kinds of comeuppance for ADOCS. Those Asians are on top of everything concerning us. And they don't miss a beat. They oppose during the supporting segment of these Senate hearings. So we can't ever afford to think we've arrived because they finally decided to do something for us. Let me stop sharing this so you can see me. We can never, family, afford to get comfortable thinking we've arrived, because that's what was happening with some of my friends when I sent out the charge. Now, mind you, I sent an update that we don't have to call today, but it doesn't mean we won't have to call. You understand what I'm telling you? So it doesn't mean people just get to celebrating. Just like tonight, I'm going to discuss on the anti-Black racism channel, series, how a Chauvin verdict of guilty on all three accounts doesn't mean justice, and it doesn't mean sentencing, and it's only one of a bazillion in our 400 plus year Holocaust. And look how much it took to get the one. ADOCS, there is never a time when you can rest as if institutional systemic racism is done. You never get to rest until you're dead. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Until you're in the ground, you don't get a break from ADOCS-ness. We need all hands on deck. This is not done. This is not done. And once we procure it, let me help you. We will have to fight to retain it. Look at what happens to our affirmative action. White women, immigrants, LGBTQIA feel that post while we are the highest in unemployment and underemployment. You never get a break from activism and advocacy. And this is the problem right now, and why it's like a boulder on me and the rest in the movement. Because the boomers got access to whiteness and jobs and a house, and they went somewhere and laid down. Not all. But I'm calling y'all out, the ones of you that have done it. And you just want to die peaceably while your grandkids and your great-grandkids perish. Because what we're undergoing right now is called ethnic cleansing of ADOCS. We are being replaced. And like I said, when I sound the alarm, my voice gets neutered. But I'm going to continue to do this because I've got a daughter and your children and grandchildren to leave this country with 3 Ks too. And that needs to be your square, your conviction, and your resolve. Until death do you and ADOCS this part. We will never be afforded an opportunity to take our foot off the gas. Back to the text. Quote, we have the opportunity not only to right a wrong that happened right here in LA County, but also to be an example to the rest of the nation on how governments can begin to act now to correct historic injustices, said Supervisor Janice Hahn, who represents the region. For more than a decade, in the 1910s and 20s, Willa and Charles Bruce owned and operated Bruce's Lodge just off the sand in Manhattan Beach. Their resort was one of the few Black-friendly resorts in LA County. Their businesses were the most prominent feature of what was then a burgeoning Black neighborhood. But their success upset members of the surrounding community. By 1924, the city of Manhattan Beach moved to use eminent domain to seize 2 city blocks where the Bruces and a handful of other Black families owned property. About a dozen white landowners were also affected. However, only the affected Black families had buildings on their property. In court proceedings, Manhattan Beach claimed the seizures were necessary to build a park. A park wouldn't be built until the late 50s, almost 30 years after the court proceedings had finished. Eventually, after a series of land transfers, LA County would come to own the oceanfront land once owned by the Bruces. Today, a lifeguard building sits on their former property. Amid the reawakened social justice movement of 2020, ADOCS, the reparationist movement, give yourself a round of applause. Activists such as Justice for Bruce's Beach called on lawmakers to acknowledge the city's past wrongdoing and make amends to the descendants of the Bruce family. Han learned of the Bruce family story then and followed along as the city of Manhattan Beach organized a task force to determine how to properly acknowledge its past history of racism and honor the Bruce family. On April 6th, a majority of the Manhattan Beach City Council approved a statement of acknowledgement and condemnation rather than an apology. They approved a statement of acknowledgement and condemnation rather than an apology. Why is that, family? You know why. Apology is not fulfilled without restitution, you see. The approved statement, an opposing council member said, was written with language that minimized the city's past racially motivated actions and portrayed past racism as not yet confirmed. You see how they do? This is your whole entire history in this country with 3 Ks. It's been whitewashed to make it palpable for white folks and immigrants, you see. This is how the NAACP is empty. This is how Black Lives Matter is empty. We'll get into that segment next. The National Urban League, when white money gets involved, it is whitewashed. And that's why they come for people like me in the grassroots. Are you starting to make the connection? Because this is a second job, family. And they're expecting to neutralize us economically so we can't afford to speak up and out. So they are shadow banning my videos and the whole 9 yards. Yes, making sure you can't find me or screwing up the times I go live, all kinds of things. They are whitewashing everything. And when their money gets involved, woe be unto us. Hence why I formed the Equity Advocates PAC to aggregate dollars amongst ADOCS to replace the lanes in Congress with full-chested cash reparationist congressional representation. You understand? So, back to the text. 3 days later, Han organized a news conference announcing her intent to return the land to the Bruce family with the support of fellow Supervisor Holly Mitchell and a handful of legislators, including SB 796, author State Senator Steve Bradford, as well as co-authors Assemblymember Al Muratsushi, Assemblymember Autumn Burke, and Senator Ben Allen. Senate Bill 796 is currently in the committee process. Should it pass both chambers of the California legislature, it would take effect immediately following the approval of Governor Gavin Newsom. Me speaking, these Republicans are working on a recall of Gavin Newsom. What kind of loopholes will they find to undermine the works of the reparationist movement? SB 96, AB 3121, which is why I'm telling you, you can never afford to take your foot off the gas like the boomer did on our civil rights. Never. In the blink of an eye, it can all be undone. The idea, Bradford said in last week's press conference, is to transfer control of the land to the Bruce family by year end. We're not done yet. So when I put out the charge, I need all hands on deck. The law would then give the Bruce descendants an opportunity to do with the land as they wish, though county officials hope that for a little while at least, they can lease the land, at least temporarily, to continue lifeguard training and operations at the existing facility. One of the orders given by the supervisors at Tuesday's meeting tells county staff to determine a timeline and appropriate steps for transferring the land to the Bruce family descendants to determine how to address property tax issues and to determine how the county might continue using the land or a relocation plan. Quote, over many decades, underrepresented groups of people, Black and brown, they always want to throw brown in there. I'm about ADOCS, but this is the article. I'm sick of them trying to conflate everything while trying to extinct us. They want to put everything in a brown category to set all the other groups up for protections while extincting us under the guise of ethnic cleansing. This is the same thing that happened, family. Don't think I'm telling you a lie. You need to check out the National Geographic Genius series. Yeah, that's the one with Cynthia Erivo plays Aretha Franklin. Now, I've not gotten to that particular series yet, although I do intend to watch it. I hear it's very good. I'm going to judge for myself. You know how I feel about African immigrants playing iconic, legendary ADOCS. I am opposed. That's a whole nother show. Okay. Y'all know how I do. I've got about 30 more minutes with you. So before I have to race my daughter to track, and then I'll be back at 6 o'clock. But there is this incredible series, Back to My Thoughts, which deal with the autobiography of Albert Einstein and how Hitler came to run the German Jews up out that piece. Albert Einstein being one of them. It talks about the atom bomb, how this country was in a race to produce it before Germany. Why? Because Germany was successful in releasing nitrogen gas in order to get the French and the Russians to surrender when they were at war. So we beat them to it with Albert Einstein's urgent letter to the president. It's deep, deep, deep. But what I'm trying to tell you is that what I saw were elements of the anti-Jewish hate in the way, the anti-Jewish racism in the way that we've got anti-Black racism in this country. It started out by making the Jews the face of every debauchery in the way that we are, in the way that we've been targeted by the race soldiers and the government. And now we're being accused of being the ones to hate on Asians, when it is the white inferior glacier donkeys, okay, who are annihilating Asians. 68% of the assaults against Asians are verbal, but we're getting accused and becoming the face of it to get all the groups hating ADOCS, whose ancestors built this country with their lives to justify our ethnic cleansing in the same way the Nazis did in Germany. You must watch it. It's called Genius. And the first story in that series on Hulu that populated for me was Albert Einstein when I went looking for the Cynthia Erivo. So that's a whole nother series that I'm doing. You know, the replacement of ADOCS in Hollywood. It's coming. Anyway, back to the text. Okay, over one of the orders given by the supervisors. Okay, over many decades, underrepresented groups of people, Black and brown people, communities, Black and brown people's communities have been ravaged, Mitchell said at this week's meeting. Housing covenants and zoning throughout LA history have been devices used to keep a community down. Redlining to have direct impact on limiting multi-generational wealth, limiting home ownership, and really challenging equity. Me speaking, median home price in this nation, family, is $340,000, while our median national income as ADOCS, and it feels way too inflated for the times we're currently in, is $41,000 to white folks, $65,000 to Asians, $85,000. to have the opportunity to return to a family a property that was taken from them based on racist ideology and discrimination is a great moment in Los Angeles history today, Mitchell said. This is but one example of a dream deferred. Board Chair Hilda Solis recalled the history of freeway construction that sliced through Black and Latino communities, of forced sterilizations against women of color at Los Angeles County Hospital, and of the seizure of homes and land at Chavez Ravine for Dodger Stadium. All of these things are a part of our history. We can't remove them, but we can shine a light on them and make sure that they never come back, Solis said. And this is a way to do it and to pay homage to this family, the Bruce family that deserves so much more. The county's act, Supervisors Mitchell and Hahn said, is not a gift to the Bruce family, but returning stolen property. Shout out to that white woman. Shortly before the vote, Hahn closed out comments by recalling a question she's fielded over the past week. I've been asked, are you afraid that it will start a precedent? Hahn said, I hope it does. Now, mind you, she's not even on the city council right now, and they tried to undo this. The new city council in Manhattan Beach tried to undermine this. But because of Hahn's influence, this got done. And we're not there yet. Okay? But that's great news. So let's get into the next story. BLM leaders jail reform group reportedly just spent $26,000 at a luxury resort. Now, we know that they raised $90 million last year, right? We're going to get into some of this. Hold on, family. Oh, thank you, family, for letting Nicole know that I'm live. I love y'all black and strong. Yes, I do. Okay, so I want to talk about what I touched on earlier in the first segment here. How when this stuff is backed by white money, you can't trust it. You absolutely cannot trust it. You're dealing with the Black Lives Matter Global Foundation as compared to the grassroots. The Global Foundation is giving the grassroots a horrible name. Like, it's hard for the grassroots to raise money because of the puckery of what's happening with these founders of the Black Lives Matter movement, who are being sponsored by the likes of Soros and giving money to the Democrats. Let's talk about it. So the most latest story, and we got a couple of them here. The BLM leaders jail reform group reportedly spent $26,000 at a luxury resort. What's that got to do with the execution of Black lives that is still happening all throughout the country? Why do they need to go luxuriate? Because they raised $90 million. Very little of which has come back down to the grassroots, to the families whom they weaponized for the come up, and to the slain, to the executed leaders of the grassroots BLM chapters. Let's get into it. A jail reform initiative chaired by Patrisse Cullors. Now, mind you, she's married. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. The self-described Marxist leader of Black Lives Matter reportedly shelled out nearly $26,000 for meetings at a luxury beach resort in Malibu, California in 2019. Reform LA jails paid $10,179 for meetings and appearances at the Calamigos Guest Ranch and Beach Club and $15,593 at the Malibu Conference Center, which is owned by the resort, according to campaign finance records reviewed by the Daily Caller News Foundation. Wouldn't this have been better served to be spending on the very people whom they weaponize for the come up? They want to do advocacy and activism in luxury. I'm not hating on activists. We deserve to be paid. This is very labor intensive. But to be as self-indulgent as this, while not pouring at least 3 times the amount into the very people whom you weaponize for the come up, it's called a grift. Back to the text. The records covering the period between July and September 2019 show the payments were made on behalf of the group by a consulting firm owned by Asha Bandalay, co-author of Cullors' 2018 biography, When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Matter memoir. Guests at the posh 200-acre resort have exclusive access to a private 5-acre strip of the Malibu coast, according to the Daily Caller, which said it was unclear why Reform LA jails booked meetings at the site. And so there was a tweet that said, Reform LA jails. From our founder and chair, Osapi Patrisse, we've spent 1.5 years working on Reform LA jails at Jane Fonda, was an early endorser of the campaign. Tonight we had a brilliant house party at her house. When white money gets involved, when celebrities get involved, these are things you got to give the side eye, okay? You have to wonder if anything is really getting done for the very ADOCS they weaponize for the come up, in the same way NAACP and the National Urban League have been co-opted and founded on white money. Where are they? I see them show up after we've built critical mass around it for the photo ops, but I don't see them marching out there with the people like that. No, I don't. I see them in front of the cameras, but I don't see them in the streets. Okay? A party with a purpose. Yeah. Let's reform LA jails. Hashtag caring is easy. Day party and summit. A day party, fireside chats for mental health, live music, local artists, special guests. That was on November 9th. From 4:30 to 8:30. Look at them go. A review of the jail reform group's social media records shows it organized several events in the LA area in the second half of 2019, including a party at actress Jane Fonda's home and a day party plus summit in Pasadena, the Daily Caller News Foundation said. But the DCNF said it was unable to find any public records of Reform LA jails holding an event at the Malibu resort. No public records. But this is the people's money. So I want to share the screen and show y'all, because I'm tired of reading this one and I've got to jump to my next articles. But let's just look at the pictures together. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the live. Nikki Williams, I see you, my love. Babe Brax, I see you, my love. Okay, so let's share so we can luxuriate with the Federation, seeing how they live in La Viva Loca while our people perish. I'm just going to scroll. Why won't they let me scroll the article? Hold on. Well, this is weird. I was trying to show y'all the pictures. Let me come over here and see what's going on. Interesting. Let's go back. Let me stop it and try again. Okay. Let's go up and scroll from the top. There's Patrisse Cullors. Cullors. I guess that's Jane Fonda. Y'all saw that one. Look at this. Wouldn't this money be better spent on the very people who have been victimized by the race soldiers, government and state sanctioned executions? This is not what my advocacy looks like by no stretch of the imagination. Anywho, so let's jump to my next article about the lovely BLM. Okay, Patrisse Cullors speaks out about the Black Lives Matter money controversy. Organizers should get paid for the work they do. The executive director of Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation cleared the air on a number of reports about her and her organization. Now, basically what she's saying is that she doesn't get paid by them. She doesn't take a check from the Black Lives Matter Federation. And that, she's a professor and an author, and then that's what bought her 4 properties. And that this is an attempt to undermine the Black Lives Matter movement. Let's get into it. Patrisse Cullors has been busy making the media rounds amid financial criticism of the Black Lives Matter Global Network that she co-founded. On Thursday night, Cullors appeared on the Black News Channel for an interview with Mark Lamont Hill to set her record straight by addressing the controversy around her organization, her career, the right-wing media that she says is targeting her, and much more. BLM leadership has been accused of not sharing the organization's recently acquired wealth with activists and other like-minded Black liberation groups. Me speaking. Has anyone told you that money has trickled down to them on the grassroots level? Wasn't it Mike Brown's father who's now suing them for $20 million because they only cut him a check for $500? They had this thing where they had all of us apply for a piece of the $90 million. I've never heard back from them since applying for money for our movement. I don't know if anyone else has, but this is what she claimed on the Mark Lamont Hill show. But let's keep going and we can read all about it. Meanwhile, Cullors in particular has been alleged to have gone on a home buying spree and purported evidence of the lavish lifestyle she allegedly enjoys by profiting off of Black deaths and trauma. Me speaking, you can't tell me or convince me that the Black Lives Matter movement, the Global Foundation, made $90 million alone in 2020, and she somehow is not getting a check. I'm not talking about all the money that they have yet to share with the public that they actually earned since Trayvon Martin. That's when it was established. I'm talking in 2020. So when you combine that 90 million with all the money they've made over the years since Trayvon, you're telling me she doesn't make any money? Or have they hidden how she makes money? I don't like a liar, a cheat, or a thief. I detest it. And I smell a rat, quite frankly. Okay, neither could be further from the truth, Cullors told Hill during the BNC interview. Quote, I have never taken a salary from the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. Cullors stated, that's important because the right-wing media is trying to say donations for BLM went toward my spending. That is categorically untrue and incredibly dangerous. Cullors said, all of her income comes directly from the work that I do. However, she stressed that aside from being the executive director of Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, she's also a college professor, a TV producer, and author with 2 book deals, including 1 New York Times bestseller, along with having a deal with YouTube. And there's nothing wrong with that either, Cullors said. No, there isn't anything wrong with her being lavish. But it looks very suspicious when you're the only one and the other founders are coming up with all kind of deals that you're cutting with major white corporations and major white celebrity and major white dollars, and you can't hear stories from the slain, the victims' families, whom you weaponize to raise money. That's what I've got a problem with. I believe that activists should be paid and be paid well. I don't believe none of us should die like paupers, like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. I do believe in celebrity voices on these issues. What I don't appreciate is the victims' families and the fallen on the grassroots. And the grassroots, I don't hear enough of what you're doing for them with that money. That's my problem. Organizers should get paid for the work they do, Cullors added, addressing the implication that activism shouldn't be rewarded financially. They should get paid a living wage. They should be paid better than that. They're putting their lives and their family on the line. Whenever I spend time in the movement, it's time away from my daughter. So I do believe we should be paid extremely well, but it should be an equal portion. That money should also benefit the people in whom we represent. Suggesting otherwise, as the New York Post recently attempted to do with a series of news reports questioning Cullors' real estate assets, is frankly racist and sexist, she added. Cullors said that yes, she owns multiple homes, but other reports about her properties have been incorrect. I'm not renting them out in some Airbnb operation, Cullors told Hill. Black women take care of their families, especially when they're in a position to. I agree with her on that. She said her real estate purchases have been investments in Black communities and called the report that she was eyeing property in an exclusive Bahamas enclave where celebrities have homes is a lie. Cullors says she uses the properties to house her family. I haven't been to the Bahamas since I was 15 years old, she added. I don't know where that lie came from. She referred to her treatment by the conservative media as misogynoir. Cullors added later, the point of the article is to discredit me and also to discredit the movement. We have to keep focused on white supremacy. The New York Post, the main right-wing media outlet that's been running with these stories, reported earlier this week that the head of Black Lives Matter Greater New York City, which is unaffiliated with the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, called for an independent investigation into the organization's finances. Why is that? Because they're not receiving money the way Patrisse is talking about. Cullors had addressed the reports that she is a Marxist, something that would contradict the reports about owning multiple extravagant homes. I think that is a critique that is wanting, Cullors said. I say that because the way that I live my life is in direct support to Black people, including my family members. For so many Black folks who are able to invest, they choose to invest in their families. Cullors previously addressed the topic late last year. So like I said, when I look at what's happening with the Black Lives Matter movement and the money, I'm trying to get these cameras right, Lord, so y'all can see me. When I look at the way that $90 million was spent, I didn't see the bulk of that going to the grassroots, nor the families of the victims of government-sanctioned executions, nor did I see it for the activists whose lives they claim commit suicide. I don't know how you are an activist for Black Lives Mattering, but you choose to take your own Black life. I don't see money going towards those investigations. I don't have a problem with activists earning money at all. You're giving up a lot to do this work, and your life is on the line. She's even being doxxed as a result of her involvement in the movement because white folks are angry. So I'm not angry about how she's getting a come up, whether it's from Black Lives Matter money or not. She deserves to be well cared for. She deserves to take care of herself extremely well. This is very stressful work that we do. Extremely stressful. Okay? It's restless, it's sleepless, It's a lot to take on the second wave of civil rights, and the only one that matters, our social and economic inclusion, not access to whiteness. Okay? But it's a problem when the people whose stories you're weaponizing for the come up, it doesn't go back to them, and I don't see them everywhere talking about it. Okay, that's my rub. Hey, Shanna, my love. Welcome to the live. Everybody, if I didn't see your name yet, I'm going to actually stop right there and read any important comments. This show is kind of free-flowing. It's off the dome. It's God speaking through me to you. So, Nikki Williams, my love. I see you, family. Listen here. So, you guys just always have to come with your little cozies, your little creature comforts, your little snacks. These things are like a long continuation. I will be with you, family. But I'm not going to be screaming because I don't want to lose my voice again. I'm not going to be screaming anymore and doing all that hoopla. But I am going to be telling the TR Ruth. That's not going to be stopping. I will be with you Monday through Thursdays is the schedule I'm flirting with. So if ScrewTube or Facebook lies to you, you know my schedule. I will be on 12 noon Pacific Standard Time for your midday wake-up call under the As the World of ADOCS Turns series. And I'll be back at 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday with your Ida B. Wells 2.0 series presents anti-Black racism. We're going to be dealing with a myriad of ways that we are discriminated against since the government and the corporate with 3K's news media benign neglect of our 400 plus year Holocaust in this country with 3Ks. So run, tell that, like, share, and subscribe. And turn on your notifications. But don't believe the hype because unless you get it from me, those are going to be my standing times. Now, I'm going on some other shows because I got to build up my following all over again since being decimated. That was my strongest following was under Angela Nirvana in Racebook. So now that they disabled me, I need your help starting all over from scratch. Okay. Thank you so much, family. Let me see what y'all got to say. I love y'all so much. I'm just going to see real quick. And we'll pick up the rest of this segment and some other ones that I got to put a bow on. Some other stuff. We'll just carry it over to tomorrow's afternoon segment. Okay. Brian says, roll on the floor. The last week was like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I'm glad you are here again. Thank you so much. Y'all, I just love that y'all were so concerned. A lot of our own folk just want to stay asleep, says Brian. You're right, family. That's the tragedy. It's, you know what? It's an excuse to do nothing. Okay? And I and you cannot rest until our people are totally free. We are of the mindset, Brian and Tribe, that none of us are free until all of us are free. God didn't bless me. To whom much is given, much is required. And God has richly blessed me. Not with just you and your love, but with everything. My daughter, my home. Oh, I can't thank God enough for sustaining me during this pandemic on a fraction of my salary. I can't thank God enough for working through you guys and your donations. I'm grateful. But God didn't give that to me for me to just sit back and sip pina coladas on the beach. I absolutely care. But I've cared from since a child when my father was a part of the Panthers, okay? That's where I learned about my beauty as a Black princess and a love all the way down to my baby toe for my people. I had to take a hiatus. You know, I couldn't go into corporate America with my daddy's Panther attitude. So I had to shift and pivot to become a success in corporate across industries. I was just speaking with this about this with a comrade who said, what did he say? Militancy is for the young. I say, no, it's not. It's for the Gen X and the boomers. Because just like me as a millennial, well, when I was young, they didn't call us millennials. I'm a Gen Xer on the border of boomer. Okay. So when I was coming up, I had to make a judgment call that to go into corporate with my daddy's Panther attitude was not getting me gainful employment. Those glacier donkeys can smell a rebel and a revolutionary in their midst. It's in your walk. It's in your talk. It's in your shoulders. You hear me? It's in your confidence. It's in your swag. ADOCS. They know you coming through the door. They know me coming through the door. So I had to shift and become someone different. And then God said, you've rested enough. When the racism down here came from my job, when we were being replaced by immigrants in Wells Fargo Bank, when that happened to me and almost cost me my home, I knew it was God calling me back to the fight. So no, the militancy is for those of us who are secure and comfortable. And you still got to do it and move in very stealth ways. I can't do it in my government name. My new Facebook account, I can't tell nothing about myself over there. It ain't a social account. It ain't gonna be pictures and all this kind of silly stuff that they wanted me to use it for, that I was using it for since 2012 up and through 2019. Okay? So that channel, that page is about posting and sharing about my advocacy work. And I won't be jumping up and down using certain coded language. If I do speak, it's going to be coded and thing of this nature. And I am making the group private. That's one more thing y'all got to do. Don't make your pages public like I did. I was growing the movement with that Angela Nirvana page. Okay? And only the tribe has been concerned about me, not the rest. Maybe a couple. But for the most part, it's that new, 2,500 that is looking out. Where is she? Okay? Not the rest. So I'm not going to be using any of these spaces to do any silly stuff. We are at George Floyd, 9 minutes, 29 seconds to the neck. Moving on, because I got to take my daughter to track. Brian says the one group that is staunchly against tangibles for ADOCS is the same conveniently getting protections, money, and legislation. You better know it, Brian Johnson. And it's coming tomorrow. We're going to finish this segment and we're going to deal with the Asians and the Hispanics and Biden's first 100 days catering to the very groups, not the Hispanics as much as the Asians, who have been as bad as our white oppressors with respect to government-sanctioned executions of us and abuse in the very stores in our communities where we help them to amass billions in sales between their restaurants, their liquor stores, and their hair stores. We're going to talk all about that tomorrow's segment on your midday wake-up call. Brian says, there's now a program in Brooklyn, New York that's giving free safety alarm devices, not unlike life alerts, to Asian Americans that feel unsafe. 68% of their assaults are verbal. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Baybrax, Nikki, I miss you, my love. Brian says, did you see that commercial where Patrisse is doing the electric slide to combat white supremacy? I saw it on the Queen Abadiah Shakur show. I saw it. Maybe I'll play it tomorrow so I can have it memorialized in one of my segments. It was silly as ever. All right, family. Until 6 o'clock p.m., I do hope you rejoin me. This has been your midday wake-up call on As the World of ADOCS Turns. I love you, Black family. I love you strong. Mwah. Peace until 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Ah, yes. Uber Ratchet. Brian, you are so funny. Remember, if you want to be a part of my new race book, send me an Gmail to friendsofADOSTV@gmail.com. Peace until 6 p.m. I love y'all.